I'm Dr. Carl Bell. I'm a clinical psychiatrist, I'm a research psychiatrist, and I'm an academic psychiatrist. In addition to all of that, I'm also a community psychiatrist because I'm the president and CEO of the Community Mental Health Council, which is this large comprehensive mental health center on Chicago's South Side. As an academic psychiatrist, I'm a professor of psychiatry and public health at the University of Illinois in Chicago. And as a research psychiatrist, I'm doing HIV prevention in Durban, South Africa, and have done research on violence prevention for years and years and years. Let's talk about some specific tips and strategies to manage conflict. Now, depending on whether or not you've got a pre-established relationship with the person or they're a stranger determines your approach. But basically, you're doing the same thing. You approach the person with both palms open, hands in plain sight, in a respectful manner. And you say to whoever it is, "Excuse me, may I talk to you for a minute?" So you're actually asking permission to talk. If you don't know the person, you do a formal introduction. "Hello, I'm Dr. Bell." If I'm dealing with a patient, I would maintain a safe distance from the patient. Depending on the situation, I might give them a very strong, firm handshake, which with a big smile on my face, but they know I'm serious because they can feel the grip. If you know the person, have had a long-standing good relationship with the person, you play on it. "Dear, you know I married you because I love you," because that sets the stage to say, we're having a conflict, but we want to try to resolve this in as win-win as possible. If it's a stranger, you might want to say, I've got a suit jacket like that at home. So you're doing bonding approach behaviors. You're trying to establish relationship as quickly as possible. Once you've gotten past the introduction stage, the next thing you should try to remember is keep your voice calm but firm. Speak in a very slow and clear manner, because a lot of times it's the tone of your voice, it's the rhythm of your voice that causes people to calm down. You say to them, "Look, I notice that you seem upset to me. You seem like you're angry," and sometimes people actually say, "Yeah, I am angry." Or you might even say, "It seems like something is bothering you," because they may not want to say that they're hurt. But you ask them, "What's going on?" As the person talks, they're going to ventilate. They're going to clarify the nature of the problem that's causing them the upset, the anxiety, the bad feelings. When they start to do that, it's almost as though you've got a balloon that's expanding, expanding, expanding. It's going to explode. And as they start to ventilate, all that energy from that hurt that's creating that anger starts to come out of the balloon. And the person then begins to calm down. Once you get the conversation going, you get them to ventilate, you get them to talk about what's bothering them, you then ask the critical question: what can we do to fix the problem? What do you think we should do to fix this problem? How can we resolve this problem? I've done this hundreds of times in psychiatric emergency situations, in business situations, in all kinds of situations. And when you ask that question, "Help me solve this problem of what's got you mad," you catch them off guard. They don't know quite what to say, and they understand that you're looking for a fix instead of a confrontation. You are looking to work with them in a cooperative manner to alleviate their frustration, their anger, and their hurt. By the time you get to this phase of the conflict resolution skill set that I'm telling you about, danger of escalation has passed, and you're starting to negotiate. Interesting thing about conflict and managing aggression and violence: it's all about time. It's all about time. If somebody is in the process of beating you up, I've got bad news for you. You don't have any time to talk. You've got to defend yourself. If, on the other hand, somebody is talking and they're escalating or de-escalating, you got plenty of time. That's when you need to use your people skills, you need to approach, you need to try to get them to ventilate, and you need to get them to ask, how can we fix this? Once you're in that phase, the time increases and you got a lot of time to negotiate and again to try to establish that win-win scenario. If the individual asks for something completely unreasonable, then you, because you're talking, you say, well, you know, that's a possibility, but I don't know that we're going to be able to do that, and you explain why. But again, by the time you're talking and you're negotiating, you can give alternate suggestions to things that are just completely and totally unreasonable. Once you've done all of that, pretty much it's over, but you're trying to get win-win. Now, you got to be careful because you're using your brain, you're using your intellect, because that's how conflicts are fought, that's how wars are fought, that's how aggression is managed, with thought, not with physical action. And while you're using your brain, it may be a little mechanical, might be a little stilted, a little artificial. So you got to be careful with that. The more you practice, the better you get. But it's important to be a real person and to try as much as possible to never back the person in a corner so that they are in a position of having to lose face. The other tips have to do with what we psychiatrists, people in medicine, call vegetative responses. Vegetative responses counter anger and they counter rage. Humor is good. If you can tell jokes, not at the other person's expense, maybe something funny about yourself. Make sure they don't think you're laughing at them or making fun of them. Eating is also very useful. I knew a guy who's in a complaint booth who used to have gum, and he would always offer people a stick of gum as they would come up to his complaint booth and complain about the product they had bought in this department store. You got to be careful about eating because you don't want to give people weapons like scalding hot coffee or cans of pop, which they can bounce off of your head. But eating is very useful. You suggest having a seat, being in a relaxing place, getting people away from people who are going to instigate and provoke violence, people who want to see a fight, is also very, very helpful. Kids in schoolyard situations, frequently, and you all know this, you know this is the scenario for a schoolyard fight. Two kids get into a conflict because one of them hurts the other one by accident or on purpose. They don't understand that there's hurt. The anger comes. They respond with anger. They say, we're going to meet at 3:15. They meet at 3:15. None of the kids wants to fight. They face each other, and there's always some kid behind that pushes the other kid into the kid, and the fight starts. So if you're that kid in that schoolyard situation, don't meet after 3:15 because the whole school's going to be there. Try to get the kid that you're having the conflict with away from all those other noxious, toxic people that want to see a fight. The other issue is if you're working with somebody, you're in a conflict, you don't want to put yourself in a dangerous situation, over in the corner in the dark, somewhere where you can't get help, should things get bad and start getting physical. You always want people around. Give you a quick story that it's clear in my mind that in an emergency room situation that I had. There was a guy who come in, brought in by the police for some altercation he'd had in his family, and he was brought to the psychiatric emergency room. I was supervising the ER that night, had a resident, psychiatry resident, and the guy had been in the observation room for a pretty long time because the place was pretty busy, pretty chaotic that night. We finally got to the guy. The resident went in and said, hello, I'm Dr. So-and-so. I'm here to interview you. The guy went off. I've been in here for 8 hours. I'm sick of being in here. I can't go to the bathroom. I'm hungry. Hey, how dare you hold me in this room against my will? Yelling, screaming, hollering, cussing. The resident, of course, reacted to this anger, did not understand behind anger is hurt, did not understand the guy was hurt, and so he immediately did his official doctor thing. Well, I understand that you're angry, sir, but I'm Dr. So-and-so, and I need to talk to you about why you're here. Here's the funny thing. The same doctor had previously gone into a room with a patient who he did not know who was crying. Again, emotional response. The hurt was more obvious, more apparent, more evident. Because she was crying, the doctor did not go in with his formal stuff, I'm Dr. So-and-so. He said, what's wrong? You know, what's bothering you? So he immediately addressed the woman's hurt, which is where she was at instead of where he was at. And so she responded to his empathic response. Same situation, emotional patient, except the hurt is covered by anger, so the doctor thinks he's getting anger and doesn't see the hurt. So he does his formal doctor thing. I intervened, pushed him out of the way, and said to the guy, oh, you really seem upset. Yeah, I'm upset. Started to get him to ventilate. What's wrong? What? I've been in here for 8 hours. 8 hours? That's a long time. Yeah, and I'm hungry. I said, well, try to get you something to eat. And so he starts to ventilate. He starts to ventilate. Then I say to him, what can we do to fix this? How do we fix this? You're obviously upset. You're obviously mad. What do you suggest we do to fix this situation for you? And of course, he said, let me out of here. No, I hear you, I understand you want to go, but we really can't do that because the police brought you here, and we just can't let you go like that. So how about this? Because we want to work this out, want to solve this. How about we talk to you for a little while, try to figure out what's going on, and then based on that, we can figure out what to do. Oh, okay. Again, got him to ventilate, recognized his hurt, asked him how to fix the problem, then we start negotiating. It has worked for me for 35 years in all kinds of difficult situations. Marriage, business, car accident, doesn't matter. You need these skills to have a happy, peaceful life.